Hey guys, I've got here the latest iteration of Jessem's Clear-Cut stock guides. These are the STS model. That's in contrast to the original ST model. These are stainless steel. The other ones are cast. So the other ones are prettier. The design is fairly different, but functionally they seem to be very similar. And that's certainly what Jessem claims, along with lower price by about $80. These were $200, and also wider range compatibility. But I am going to be installing these on the T-Glide fence of a 36-inch Sawstop PCS. I imagine a pretty common saw that people will be putting these suckers on, and there's not a lot of information about that right now. Right out of the box, definitely a couple of questions that I had to figure out. Jessem's instructions are light. So, a couple of observations, or just basic function, the way these work. This base plate is going to be secured directly to your fence. The idea is that you screw it in there forever, but extremely easy and convenient to remove these stock guides from the base plate. As far as placement goes, Jessem does not really give any guidance other than that they should not interfere with the saw blade when you move the fence over. There's no minimum space mentioned or anything like that. I believe the old one said 2 inches, but Jessem didn't say so, and I believe I'm going to get them as close as I reasonably can. So for the back one, we'll probably shoot for about there. Don't want to go too crazy, but just making sure I've got this in the furthest that it's going to go with my table saw blade all the way up. So if I was doing the thinnest stock, no problem. Thickest stock, no problem. And middle point's going to be the closest. There are adjustments here, but these Jessem says those are only really necessary when you're doing this for a unusually tall fence. So I don't think we need to worry about that. Then in the front, like I said, pretty easy on, easy off. The consideration is going to be clearance for our riving knife. And similarly, it's going to be thinnest stock I could possibly have. More or less right there. And these are going to slide around, but you can see, got my clearance. Or at least I will when I actually measure this out and install these for real. So a couple of things about these. I can kind of show you how they operate. I'm not going to talk about how these kind of work in terms of holding the workpiece down. There's lots of great videos on the old model that you can go watch, but there's not any videos of this one. So this is going to be more about installation and this specific product. That goes all the way out. When you undo this knob, it also adjusts the either height or angle, depending on how you want to look at it. That all slides in. Very easy to tighten down. One really nice thing that Jessem did is when you install this, it ends up right above the opposite side of your fence, at least where I want to put it, right? So that's tightened down. If I want to loosen it, I'm whacking that, and it's almost loose, but not quite there. But fortunately, you can, when it's tight, pull this back and rotate it to the desired position. And so now it's very tight, and to loosen it, within a half turn, it's completely loose, and I can cinch it down very firmly within a half turn. So that means you don't have to futz around with this little mechanism once you have it where you want it, which I think is really great. Because I could mount it all the way over here and not have to worry about how this is rotating, but then you lose a little bit of travel, or at least effectively, of your arm. And it can be nice to get these arms out as far as you can, because that's going to provide the best way to essentially hold the stock against the fence and down on the table. The other consideration, though, is having clearance when it's fully retracted and you're working with something that is taller than your fence. So I'm whacking it there. I'm gonna move it over so I've got clearance and give myself just a little bit extra. Again, you can take these off, so I almost feel like there's an argument for scooting it all the way over here so that you are coming further out on the workpiece and using less of the arm. But that means you'd have to take these off every single time you want to run something through that is taller than your fence, which I think would be annoying. And we're only having to go over about a 1/2 inch there. So I think that's going to be about the sweet spot. And yeah, these things seem pretty great. Probably going to go ahead and post this just because there's very little information about these, and I would have really appreciated just having somebody that actually owns them, looking at them. I was resorting to pausing the Jessem advertisements to try and figure out or just see how other people would put these on, whether we're doing them dead center, anything like that. So really goes to show how much I rely on my fellow YouTube folks and the internet in general to help me out with this stuff, and probably how much a company like Jessem does as well. So I'm sure in a couple weeks there's going to be a lot more information about these. Maybe I'll post something about how they're actually working. But so far, $200. I've been wanting a pair of stock guides for a long time. I think they're going to make things a lot safer and easier. Yeah, just seems like a good idea, and I think it's really cool that Jessem took the time to redesign this sucker in a way that is cheaper, and for a lot of people actually works with their table saws, because I know that seems like a big goal with these was to increase compatibility. Not why I bought them, but cool nonetheless. So that's all I got.